Let's make a needle felt bear together. My name's Lucy and I'm from Nanny Burton's Crafts, and I seem to like to make bears at the moment, and this is one I've just finished. We're going to make a much smaller one this time, and I might have to make it over a few days because they do take a long time, unfortunately. So I'm using pipe cleaners, and let's just have a little think about how big I want him to be. Using pipe cleaners means that you'll be able to bend him slightly, or her, your little bear. And I'm just thinking about, I'm going to use this one to help me make it smaller because I'm not that great at making small things. So I'm just going to bend the tips slightly because we'll use those to help us wrap the wool in a minute. But maybe let's go for kind of about there, I reckon. So I'm just going to twist it. Now, how big you want your feet to be, it's up to you. You just have to, you just have to try and work it out. That's quite small, isn't it? Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for quite small. So then he's going to have a tummy. So that's kind of like, I'm going to use my pinch as a bit of a guide. So we've got about a pinch there, a pinch there, a pinch here, and I'm just going to twist it. Yeah, he's going to be really small. This will be really cute. And we'll give him some arms. So I'm just bending this here. But let's make that one. I can already see that they're not equal, and it will come back to haunt me if I don't get them a bit equal. In fact, let's give him much longer arms. So that is a really good pinch. I mean, you could use a ruler. Please do use a ruler if you feel you need to try and get some accuracy. You can add bits of wool on, of course you can. Yeah, and then I'm gonna half his head as well. In fact, come this way. Let's twist it round a bit. His head will be one of the chunkiest bits. I'm gonna bring that down too. I'm going to go with that whole like pinch, you know, make it about a pinch. I think one arm is longer than the other. Yeah, I think that'll do. I think we'll be able to tidy up any mistakes with wool. So let's get some wool. Now I'm going to use carded core wool from World of Wool. This is a really cheap way of doing it. Because this is so small, you could actually pick the colour you want. Maybe I just grab a bit, but I'm not sure what colour we're going to do him yet. So now if you remember, I said on the feet to just pinch it over slightly. Actually, we don't need, I haven't done that, have I? Because I've made him smaller than I was going to make him about that big, but he's tiny, so let's go with it. So we're just going to wrap. And the tighter you wrap this now, the less felting you're going to have to do. Try to not twist the wool. And we're just going round. And this is something that the more you wrap wool, the better you get at it. And that, because that's nice and tight, like, it's pretty well, I don't have to do too much to this. This is not going to need too much work. So thinner pieces, so pull it apart. Thinner pieces work best, and you want to try and cover this, but you can see I've not covered that very well, so I'm going to have to add some in a bit to cover that. That's the hardest bit to do, I'm afraid. But this is just practice, and you want to try and keep it as tight as you can. Otherwise there'll be a lot of felting and a lot of needle. You have to use your needle a lot to felt it down. Yeah, make that a bit tight there. Probably the worst mistake is by trying to wrap too much wool. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Sorry, I've moved my camera because it's such a dark, wet day today that the shadows are awful. Again, we're just going to wrap. Let's just have a little look at him. Yeah. And some more, again, nice thin strips. Go around. And if we find one leg is a lot chunkier than the other, we can always add some more wool. It's quite, now that we've added this, it's going to be really, it would be really hard to get that off. So just bear that in mind. I actually want him to be a chunky bear, so let's get some more and add a bit more. The point is that if it's too thick, you won't get it nice and tight. And getting it tight means less felting. The project will take you a lot quicker to make. Let's add some more to this one too. And sometimes I go a bit wrong and I just end up having to felt it for ages because that feels easier. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and you should, but I'm so used to doing this, I don't, you should have a base so that you don't break your needle, and you should probably wear a finger guard too so that you don't stab yourself. So you can see like this one's gone much fluffier, so I'm going to have to work now at this, and I'm just using my needle to stab. I am aware that there is some wire in here. I don't usually hit it, but now I've said that I probably will. You can snap a needle if you do that. So this side is just going to need a lot more work. And that's difficult to see, isn't it, on white. Let's take it off. I'll put it back on here and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay. We won't get this finished today, but I will film part 2 and 3, whatever we need over time. So yeah, by all means put your finger guards on. Being that he's so small, it probably would make sense to use the colour you want, because in Inferior I've got to wrap it all again with the right colour, but that's okay. I don't think he's going to be this colour. I don't really like things to be core wool. It's just a bit sort of odd. I do quite often hold them in my hands. Sometimes I'll hit myself a couple of times and then I'll put my finger guards on because it just feels a bit odd. Okay, and let's even up this one. This one's a lot smaller at the moment, where I've wrapped this one better. But you still want to, you're just like tacking it down really. And you can see this end has gone all funny, so we need to get this in place. And at the moment, these legs don't look the same length, so we may have to extend this, but that's okay. I always think needle felting, that goes through like a really ugly stage where you think, oh, this is a disaster, but just you have to keep going with it. So I'm getting distracted. There's leaves falling off the tree. The leaves are nearly all gone now. Where are we today? It's the 14th of November and the leaves are nearly all gone. The last few are just falling down. They're coming down quite thick, like fast today. Okay, I think we've got cold weather coming next week, so that'll be interesting. Let's move the other bear out of the way. Okay, yeah, so we've definitely got one leg that's slightly longer than the other. I really wasn't planning on making a bear this tiny. Am I feeling a little bit nervous about that now? Yeah, maybe. But let's keep going. And then I hit myself and it didn't bleed and it just touched the skin. Just feels a bit uncomfortable. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let's add a bit more. Let's do his tummy. Again, trying to Gonna go round in between his legs there. Could them with a bit more wool. Oh, sorry, I've got the wrong colour in front of me. Just little bits, because he's so small, we're just gonna have to use really little pieces. And at any point, you feel free to just tack these pieces in with a few little stabs. That will help to hold them in place. You can really work on that a bit later. Top of this leg is well chunky. And because he bends, you can bend it so that it makes it safer and easier for you to hold. Isn't that a lovely sound? Okay, because I'm going to be adding another colour on, he may end up quite a bit chunkier yet, so I'm not going to worry too much about how uneven it is, because I might just be wasting my time if I end up making you know, the other side more even. Okay, that's good. Now let's give him, you never need a massive amount of wool when you need a felting, or like unless you're making something huge. Less is often more. And like I said, the hardest bit are these bits here, but again, we're going to be covering him, so we don't need to worry too much. Again, we're just tucking it in so that it doesn't come off immediately. And this is quite a chunky arm. Let's do the other side. You can go much thinner. Oops. Try not to twist the wool, because it just doesn't go on as well. 2 needles here, I'm not sure which one I'm using, and then just tack it in place. Sometimes like people say, oh, you relieve a lot of stress needle felting. Actually find it really calming. Not the stabbing is not aggressive, it's not, you know, it's actually quite gentle in order to get things to do what you want them to do. You often need to be quite gentle, especially if you're doing fine detail. So we're just going all over him really. You can see what I'm doing. He doesn't look very much, he looks more like a stick man at the moment, doesn't he? But we'll make him look like a teddy, I promise. So for his head, I've taken quite a bit more, but that's probably too much. And I'm just going to start wrapping this around his head, and then come back round his body there. And we'll get our base colour on in a minute. So we're just, so we're like, if you're doing a circle, tuck that in there. If you're doing a circle, you're kind of going around a lot. Keep moving your needle. And this is, I think this is something that just comes with confidence over time. You can really manipulate this wool to do what you want, and you can add more. Taking away is the difficult bit. If you use way too much, you're just going to end up spending a lot of time trying to felt it down, and that's okay. And your felts don't have to be super solid. They can be, but they don't have to be. Needle felting, they're not toys. You know, you shouldn't. The wool itself is not 100% clean. You know, you wouldn't want a baby chewing it or anything. It is washed, but you still find little bits in it. They're ornaments, they're not toys. Sometimes my son plays with them, but he's 6 now, so he's old enough to have a bit of an understanding. But they don't last if you play. They start to go out of shape, and unless if you do it incredibly tight, it might hold better, but they aren't toys. So if it's a bit soft, it doesn't matter, because hopefully people won't be touching them much. You know, it's an ornament to sit on the shelf. Okay. So I'd like a bit of a neck on him. He doesn't have a neck at the moment. I'm just gonna focus in on this bit here, the difference between the arm. And I think because I've used a lot of wool, I'm gonna struggle to get much of a neck. But we can bring his face out, so that will help. Yeah, we can bring his face up. We'll give him a bit of a snout, and that will help. And we can pull these arms down a bit. Because it's bendy, you can move it to where you want to help you shape it. This is not a great shape, but it's not awful either. And we are going to give him quite a tummy as well. One of the reasons we work in cool wool, and you don't have to, obviously if this was a big teddy, it would save you a lot of money. The wool is much cheaper, and it works really well quickly together. And it just comes in this creamy colour, so that's quite neutral. In case we got bits we could go on, you can see his leg is a bit different, but I'm not going to worry about that just at the moment. So I think now we need to decide what colour he's going to be. I was thinking of doing like a pink bear or a blue bear, but I've got this colour here, and I don't have the original bag, so I can't tell you what colour it is. It's a World of Wool colour, kind of like a reddish brown. I think we'll make him in this colour for now. So I'm going to do the same thing again, take some nice small pieces and just start to wrap them round. And this is where we'll sort out any problems. And because this is carded Cordell wool, it's going to work really quick. You know, it won't take, I wouldn't want to use merino on him or anything like that. So we're just adding the piece. Yeah, it probably would have been better if I'd realised I was going to make him so small. I'm not quite sure how he has, I'm just going to go back to this a second now. I'm not quite sure how he has got so small. It just happened, didn't it? By all means, make yours much bigger if you want to. So we're going to work on this, and I am just going to put a finger protector on so that I can really get in there without having to worry. It'll be much quicker for me. I won't be so cautious. And we'll even up his feet, so don't panic. You can add chunks on, you know, you could add loads on if you really wanted to, you could. It's not necessarily the easy thing to do, but you definitely can. You can still see what I'm doing. And because it's sort of round, we're going round. You can see my needles going in at all different angles. Let's get some more. So now we are just covering the white, wrapping around again, covering the white. And you can use your, sorry, it's so small, it's hard to see. You can use your needle to direct where you want the wool to go. So if you don't feel very confident wrapping, don't panic. You can just use your needle to get you where you want. I have a million things that I should be doing. Needle felting is not one of them, but this is much more fun than anything else. I'm actually quite excited now by the thought of making a tiny little bear. So I'm not actually wrapping, I'm just adding it from above, just trying to fill in some gaps. You can see how like quickly that's working up. Let's turn him around and sort this side out, because look how fluffy this is. I'll move that arm out of the way. And just push this in. So should have been wrapped. I'm making this take longer for myself, but because it's so small, I don't think it is going to take too long. I'm going to put the other one on. So when you get these, you get a finger and a thumb. These are obviously from 2 different sets. So I just hold it between like this, and then it gives me quite a bit of control. Now, because this is so small, I already feel like this is felted quite hard, which is not ideal really. I probably need to change my needle over. And that's just, yeah, he's quite stiff already. I'm quite surprised by how stiff he is. I should have just made him out of the one colour. Well, no, it's fine. It's all practice, isn't it? All practice. Like I said, don't make tiny things. I think they're harder to make actually. Okay, let's get some on the other side. Let's move his arm up again. That's when it's hard, like when you're trying to wrap, it's hard to do it with any finger guards or anything on. This is such a small bit, let's get some more. I love this colour, I've used it on quite a few things actually, quite autumny. Sorry, I don't know what it is. If I can work out what it is, I will put it in the captions. I've gone quite thick there. It's a bit too thick actually. See if we can see, it's already like attached on. It's hard to get it off. There we go. That was too thick. I want coverage, but I don't want the bulk. We'll just pull that off. And I'm going to use my needle to manipulate that to cover that. But not that one. Just bear with me. Okay. Same thing again. Just going down, tucking it in place. Put my finger guards on. This is much too thick. It's going to take a bit of work to get this thinner, but it will. Needle felting always takes longer than you think it's going to. Eventually just kind of comes together. I feel like this is quite a foxy colour, rusticy foxy colour. Yeah, I really want to make, I've got a greeny colour, greeny bluey colour I want to make bear out of that, and a pink one too. I didn't intend on them being this small, so now it doesn't feel right. It feels like it should be like a little tiny bear. And then do feel free to turn him over and sort the back out, because I haven't been focusing on this, have I? That will help with the overall shape as well. Now, I can see a definite difference. Let's give it a bit of a squeeze. Let's have a work on this and see if we can make it a bit smaller. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to add more to the other side. Go a bit slower so I can concentrate a bit more. If there's wire here, then it might be that I've made the wire too long, so I can't. Doesn't matter how much I compact this down, I can't do anything about the length. in which case we will just add to the other side. I think that's the case. I think that I've made the wires a bit uneven. That's helped a bit, hasn't it? A little bit more here. What I'm going to do is make the other side more chunkier, definitely. So I think there's not just a length issue, there's a chunk issue. But we don't want to add too much, or we'll end up going the other way. So yeah, anything, any animal or creature you're doing, there's always an element of symmetry that you have to think about. That does make projects more complicated, but don't let it put you off. And remember, like, whatever you create is great. It will get better and better and better. A bit of faith in yourself. Allow yourself to just have a go. You know, you can see how long this is taking. If it looks like, you know, at least you had a go. Not everyone's going to be able to have the patience to do this. People are too scared to try. Okay. Yeah, I'm reasonably happy with that. We might add a bit more, but for now I'm reasonably happy. Right, we're going to move on to the tummy, and the tummy I want to be a nice big chubby teddy bear tummy. So I'm just going to tuck this in place. Don't really want this all. You see how I can move it with the needle? I don't want that all there because the leg is already chubby enough. I want it chubbier. Let's give you more of a tummy. Remember, you're telling the wool where it's going, so we don't want it on this leg. Keep turning it so you can manipulate it. Remember, there is wire, so you do have to be a bit cautious. I can hear myself constantly hitting it, so I'm not being too careful. Let's have a look at the back. The back of the teddy can be flattened a bit. Well, we've got a little gap here, but I don't want to add bulk. I don't want to go all the way around. I'm going to take a tiny piece. Just pop that on from up high. This will it takes longer than wrapping, obviously, when you just dump the wool down, but that is going to allow me to cover that gap without adding more bulk to the legs on the other side anyway. You will just see things as you're going and, you know, notice bumps and lumps that you just want to sort out. That's fine. Try not to hit yourself. Okay. Just giving that leg a bit of a squeeze. Okay, let's get on to the arms. So again, small pieces, and it is going to be a bit hard because it's so small. Bunching it together a bit to go round. Remember, the needle will do the work for us. Gently. Control. Not in a rush. We're enjoying the process. We're not rushing. We're totally focused on what we're doing, what we're creating. A little bear. What are you going to name your little bear? What do you want to name your little bear? Is it a unisex bear? Is it going to be a little boy, a little girl? This looks like one of those little worry dolls, doesn't it, at the moment? Or like a little voodoo one at the moment. I need to keep an eye on the time. Like I said, I've got 100 things to do. Felting should not be one of them. But shh, don't tell anyone. Add a bit more on here. Gonna add a bit more because there we go. Let's get this in. Don't forget to turn them over. You can see, I mean, you might not be able to see from my camera, but when you're making this yourself, you will see the wall begin to like move to where you want it to. Sometimes you just have to work a bit longer than you think. And you can see how you can use the wall to cover up gaps as well. There's an element of movement that you can do. So where it's all fluffy here, just watch spending a bit of time. Get that down so that's not anywhere near so fluffy. And it's sort of hard to believe that you're going to be able to do that, but you can. Just takes time. And the same with under here, under his arm. Let's get that tucked in. I am being reasonably careful without my finger guards on. Give him a bit of a squidge, help it go in. It's funny how different the wall, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but where it's been, you know, felted well, it's almost changes colour slightly. It just I don't know if it darkens, but it just looks quite different. Let's take a chunky bit. I can see the blue pipe cleaners coming through. You can get all different types of pipe cleaners, specially designed for felt. I don't really know what the for felting, I don't really know what the difference is, to be honest. I've just bought cheap ones. I hate using the sparkly ones, and at the moment their packs will show you that they've got these horrible like sparkly bits designed for some sort of Christmas craft, aren't they? maybe it'll be like tinsel or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll find a use for them. But I don't like using them because it does tend to poke through. But the reason I do it is because it's great if you're making small things. It gives you something to wrap around, and there's an element of like you can then bend. You can make your things bend. So for instance, I've got a mouse here. You know, his tail's quite bendy now, so that's great on a mouse. But you can use a skewer you can wrap around a skewer if you need a much smaller space. This arm's going a bit wonky, so I'm going to put my put both on, finger guards on, and I'm just going to hold it in my hand and start getting it where I want it, and we'll check in a minute to see how even they are. But I think if I just push this down for now, should be fine. Hopefully I can get that pushed in, otherwise he's going to have a huge hand on one side. This will take a few minutes. Don't give up when you think it's going wrong. Just keep going. You can see how loose this is on the end. Okay, it's getting there now. Let's just have a little look from the front. See if we can join this up a bit so that I don't have to add more wool. Just pushing it down gently. Slow and controlled. Cover that up. I think I'm going to need to add a tiny bit. You can sort of swirl the felt round a bit to help you control it. You can also cut bits off as well. So if you don't want to spend ages felting in loads of loose little bits, you can by all means cut them off. But I'm going to use this to cover up some more gaps I've got down here. I do believe that practice just helps. Everything you make is potential to learn something new or to just develop your skills a bit better. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Doesn't mean you can't try. Okay, so we're going to give it a squidge like we did with the legs to try and get it a bit more even. I feel like his legs are massive. Don't forget, if he sits down, it could look quite different, couldn't they? I've got a gap there I'm going to need to fill, but we'll worry about that in a minute. Let's get some work on his head. And then I think we can see how big his tummy needs to be. So again, a bit of a wrap around. Let's put finger guards on for this one. I think once we get his head looking like a bear, we can then go in and we could add some like bobbles to his feet if you want. especially if you think he's going to be a sitting down bear. But the good thing about teddy bears is if you went into a shop and looked at teddy bears, they'd all look really different. Some would have small legs, some would have big legs. So you can sort of see how yours develops. Moving it round to get that roundness. Circles, doing a round ball is a really good place to start if you're really new to needle felting, because that's a real good way of manipulating the wool. It's crazy, isn't it, to think that this and this can create this. That to me still, like, it still blows my mind, especially when I make something that I'm quite proud of or quite pleased with, like my little mouse. Although he's been played with a bit, I did say they're not to be played with, but he has been moved quite a lot recently. He quite pleased with him, and that's just ooh, it's crazy. Now you can add a round piece to give him a snout, or you can manipulate the wool to give that snout look if you want to. I think I'm going to be able to manipulate the wool to give him a round snout bit, but we'll see. He's a bit uneven at the moment, isn't he? Yeah, he's very uneven. Oh, and look at the back. So focused on the front, we didn't look at the back. Let's go in with some more. Don't forget, you can tell the wool where you want it to go. You just have to be a bit slower whilst you're doing it. I thought I was going to cover all the bits with that wool, and I didn't, did I? Oh, there's some more here, so we might. Yeah, we might. Still quite a gap there. That's annoying. And one there too. I really didn't pay much attention to the back, did I? Looks very odd from the back, doesn't he? It's a bit naff from the back, poor little chap. So small pieces on that arm. That's annoying me. I don't know if you can see what I can see, the white coming through. I am going to run out of time. Okay. Just sort of fluffing him up a bit. Okay. Let's try and sort this neck out. Come around this side. He has no neck. Going to cover this tiny piece here. It's way too much. add to his tummy in a minute as well, but I just wanted that bit gone. You can pull the arm up and just tuck any bits in there so the arm's got a bit more definition in case we've lost it. Add in some fluffy bits. Put that down. Right, what can we do about this neck? I'm just going to work on here under the chin. I'm just pressing lightly. And at this point it's been worked quite well, so it's limited what we're going to do, what we're going to be able to achieve. So I think now just work on his head a bit. I don't know whether to add a big wedge more or not. Kind of quite liking him. It's not like a perfect little teddy, is he? It's more like a doll teddy, but there's some gaps, so let's just add. Let's fill up these gaps. Little bits of wool. He's been a lot of fun to make. He's really cute. I was thinking about giving him some little feet like I have on this one. Giving him this bit, but I don't think we need to. I mean, you could spend a bit of time pushing the wool on the bottom of his feet to make it flatter, I suppose. That might look nice. It would give it some detail. Yeah, you could do that. We could try and give him a bit of a flat foot. That just involves a bit of time. You can, if you decide this is his foot, if you put your needle in, I hope you can see, that sort of gives you, still a bit chunky, isn't he, this one? Let's work on that a little bit. To create a little bit of shape for your bear. You can definitely do that, it's not too late. This one's just got one leg that's much more chunkier. And I'm not adding to the other side now. We could be doing this forever, so I'm just gonna give him a bit of a squeeze. Yeah, so it has worked a bit actually, hasn't it? And that has given it a little bit of definition. If you spend a bit of time doing this as well, you'll get that definition much more. Let's cover up these tiny little pieces, just the tiniest little bit. Tiny pieces. Like I said, you do not have to, you could snip these fluffy bits off if you don't want to knock them all in. You are in danger of like distorting the shape you've made as well. So do I want to make his head much bigger, or do I just want to sort of finish him a bit, really? Give him some ears and finish him. Let's have a little go at just taking a small piece, just like rolling it up. Really rolling it, and see, that could be a bit of a snout. If we ever made like Fimo or anything, it feels a bit like doing that, adding the snout one afterwards. I'm just going round the outside of the ball that I've made. To try and add that. Now some people add a different colour nose. I've not done that yet. That would really give it some definition if you had a slightly different shade. Not sure if this is working or not. I might need to add more. This looks a bit messy, doesn't it? Should we add a bit more? Let's do that again, but this time, so that's about that chunk. And I'm just going to roll it. You can get it a little bit wet if you keep a little jug of water beside you. You could use that. And then I'm just tacking it down around the outside as if I'm doing like a round circle around his face. You will have to push a few bits in. Try to avoid stabbing yourself. I do find sometimes the finger guards stop you from, they just make it difficult, but by all means wear them because it does hurt. It hurts after like a couple of consistent ones. Occasionally I've made myself bleed, which is why should only have a needle. Shouldn't anyone else use your needles? There we go. There we go. That's better. This is the bit where I get excited, usually where you start putting on a face. Now I'm pressing very lightly because I don't want to distort the middle. I don't want to distort this shape too much. That being said, we're going to add some detail, aren't we? Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. Right, let's do some ears. So again, for some ears, I'm just going to roll it a bit. I'm going to use my finger guards for this. Just push it down a bit. And then squeezing it a bit, I'm just pushing this down. Teddy bear's ears go round, so what we're going to try and do is go round. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Well, my teddy bear's ears are going round, but yours could be pointy. Now ideally what I should have done is taken two pieces the same size so that you stand more chance of getting your ears even, but I didn't do that. So that should have done that, taken two pieces the same size of wool. So we know we're going to get ears the same size. I am just watching the clock, trying to get this done quickly. Yeah, it's not too bad. You always want to leave a piece to attach it with. You have to be a bit careful. Otherwise, if you just do your little round ears, you won't be able to attach them. Struggling a little bit with this tiny ear, so let's attack it from up above. And you can, hold it up and see how you think it's going to look. Let's get the other one going. Like I said, if I'd been sensible, I would have used two bits of wool the same size. Was I sensible? No, I wasn't. I'm starting it on here to just see if I'm close to No, I'm going to need a bit more, I think. Actually, it's not too hard doing it on here, is it? But I will hold it between my fingers to try and get this shape, the roundness. You might get them finished. So again, like everything, it's that symmetry, isn't it? Trying to get them symmetrical or similar. Because we have like one ear bigger than the other, or you know, our eyes can be a bit different, and our eyebrows and things like that make us look different. I don't have much on here to attach this one with. I think I'm reasonably happy with this. I'm just pinching it there. Let's try and add him on. So I'm going to hold him down like this, just because it's difficult. It's going to be difficult to add this on. I can't see from the front, so it's not ideal, but I just want to get a few bits in so that it's not going to come off. And then I'm going to hold it down like that to attach. It's just my way of doing it. There's probably lots of better ways. I'm actually worried that there's not enough on that one to attach that one now. So we'll see. That may be my mistake. I'll show you another way if you're struggling to add your ears to get them to stay on. I'll show you another way in just a second. So this is the one I'm quite worried about. Just taking our time. Okay, that might have been just enough, I think, to make it work. Just enough. It's naughty. I hope you can see what I'm doing. It's so dark, isn't it? Do let me know if you can think of something you'd like to see me make. I haven't done a video tutorial for a little while. I don't think I'm particularly good at them, but I do love needle felting. And sometimes just seeing somebody make something is just a bit, just gives you the inspiration. So we've got one ear bigger than the other, of course we have. We can fix that. So if you're struggling to get them to stay in place, here's a little trick, and I don't really want to do this because it's going to take time, but we can make it work. So just pop a piece of wool over what you've done so that that helps. You're sort of joining it. That will cover up any marks. That will just maybe help it blend a bit more and just gives you a bit of wool to work with in order to add, in order to get it to stay in place. You can add a lot. You can add a lot if you need, if you really don't have enough. You can add a lot more wool too, and you can add to the ears as well, but it's just difficult. It's more difficult. You know, if I suddenly decide that one ear is much bigger than the other, I can definitely add some. Look, you can see me adding a bit there. I can definitely add some more wool. They're not so stiff that I can't, but again, there's that risk of yeah, it should work. Okay, yep. Yeah, I don't mind that it's a little bit different. Still a bit of colour needs to be added there. There's still a few spots, and some ways I kind of like it. It makes him look a bit more rustic. I would have liked his neck to have been a bit more enhanced. Right, let's quickly give him some eyes, and then I think we have achieved a lot today. I'm going to use, I've got Badger and it's kind of brown but mottled. These are all wild. I always get all my needles from there. I might try some needles from somewhere else because I'm struggling a bit with needles. No, I think that's about right. So again, just swirl a ball in your hand. Now, if you don't push them on too hard, you can pull them off if you decide that your eyes, and like I said, what I should have done again is taken a piece the same size and I didn't. But yeah, I did, when I made a snowman, I made his eyes way too big and I had to take them off. Yeah, I think it's too big. I don't have my scissors because sometimes it works really well if you cut them in half. No, I'll take that apart. We reject that one and we'll pull this one apart. Bear with me, we'll try and get much smaller. So again, just a bit of friction around in your finger. Still quite big, isn't it? And let's go a bit more over to the side this time. No, it's still too big. It's too big. Right, let's try this. Tiny pieces, tiny eyes. I don't know if I'm going to give him a smile because he's so small. I don't think I'm going to give him a smile. So you don't necessarily need lots and lots of wool to make things. His ear looks a bit big. Doesn't look as felted as the other one, so I'm just fixing that. Does he need a bit of a smile? Probably does, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. He needs a nose and he needs a smile. So again, a bit more of the same colour. Bigger nose this time. Yeah, I think you're just going to give him a nose and not a smile. Okay, our tiny little bear. Let's patch up that bit. One leg's still a bit longer than the other. Yeah, just patch up these bits on the back. Don't forget to check the back. There's a loose bit here too. Be careful not to distort the front if you're leaning on the front. Maybe this one is one to do in your hand. So that is our tiny bear, and I still want to make a bigger bear, a little bit bigger. You can go back through my shorts and see some of the other bears. I made a really big bear and he bends and he's got clothes, and he's my Christmas bear. He doesn't have a name yet, so I don't think he has a name yet. Christmas bear. Okay, I could be here a bit longer just doing that, but that's our little bear. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care and do subscribe. Bye.